Taurus, let's not pretend it hasn't been heavy. On the outside, you hold it together. You always do. The calm in chaos, the strong one others lean on, the one who remembers to refill the fridge, pay the bills, keep the peace. You're grounded, yes, but grounding doesn't mean unshaken. And lately, there's been this weight inside of you, quiet, invisible, but undeniably present. Not loud enough to break you, but constant enough to exhaust you. It's a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being physically alone, but from being unseen, unmirrored, unmatched. Because the truth is, you've been giving more than you've been receiving. You've shown up for people without keeping score. And somehow, that's become the problem. No one's counting, including you. You offer your presence, your time, your care. And yet, in the quiet hours when the calls stop, when the lights dim, there's a space beside you that feels unbearably empty. Not because you're not loved, but because you're not understood. And for someone like you, who feels the world through touch, comfort, rhythm, this emptiness doesn't just ache. It drains. You weren't made to walk through life half met. And yet, so often, that's what happens to those who carry stability like you do. People assume you're fine. They assume you're fulfilled because you're not chaotic. But they don't see the moments you stay up wondering if anyone's ever going to meet you on the same wavelength. Someone who doesn't just admire your loyalty but understands the weight it takes to stay loyal in a world that rarely returns the gesture. So let's name it. Honestly, you've been lonely. Even if your calendar's full, even if your feed looks lively, even if your job keeps you moving, there's a hunger in your soul. Taurus, a longing for someone who sees past the routines, past the patience, and past the perfectly put together exterior. You want someone who doesn't need you to be strong all the time, someone who doesn't love you in spite of your quiet nature. But because of it, someone who makes space for your stillness without trying to fix it. Someone who doesn't ask you to explain why you're tired, but just sits beside you in it, offering presence instead of solutions. And here's the quiet, golden truth weaving its way toward you now. The universe has heard that ache. There is someone coming into your field, not loud, not chaotic, not overwhelming, but aligned. Someone who brings with them the kind of energy that doesn't disrupt your flow but joins it. You won't need to over-explain. You won't need to convince. You won't need to prove your worth. They'll see it in how you brew your tea, in how you listen, in how your silence says more than most people's words. This person may not arrive like a thunderbolt. They may not make your heart race or your plans collapse, but they will make you exhale. They will feel like safety, not because they're perfect, but because they're real. And for someone like you, who is so attuned to what's real and what's performance, this will be the first real breath of connection you've felt in a long time. And here's what's even more important. This connection won't require you to abandon yourself. You won't need to shrink or stretch or shape shift. In fact, the more you settle into your natural rhythm, the more this person will find you, because they're not looking for noise. They're looking for depth. They're not impressed by surface. They're moved by truth. And your truth, the way you love, the way you commit, the way you stay, will be the very thing that draws them closer. So Taurus, let yourself soften. Let yourself open to the idea that maybe, just maybe, you don't have to do everything alone anymore. Maybe you don't have to carry both the weight of your world and the silence of your longing. Maybe you don't have to explain why stability matters so much to you. Maybe you just need someone who already knows, because they've walked the same quiet roads. And when they show up, and they will, it won't be to rescue you. It will be to meet you, to build something mutual, something that doesn't burn fast and die out, but grows steady and strong. Something that honors your pace, your tenderness, your trust. Because Taurus, you are not hard to love. You are hard to fake love with. And that's the difference. You see through the small talk. You feel when someone's heart isn't in it. You don't just want presence, you want presence with intention. And now, finally, that's what's on its way. So breathe. Make room. Clean the corners of your energy, not for someone to save you, but for someone to walk beside you. And when they arrive, don't overthink it. Don't test it. Don't compare it to what hurt you in the past. Just notice how your nervous system responds when they speak. How your heart slows down, not speeds up. How your body feels safe, not anxious. That is your sign. That is your green light. That is your yes. The universe is not just bringing you love, it's bringing you reflection, restoration. Someone who will sit with your quiet soul and say, I see you, all of you, and I choose to stay. If you were born between April 20th and April 26th, this person steps into your life like a memory you didn't know you had misplaced. They might show up in a familiar setting, your hometown, an old workplace, or through a reconnected friend from the past. There's a deep sense of déjà vu here. You won't need to explain yourself. They'll just understand. Their presence won't shake you, it will settle you. They honor the kind of loyalty that runs in your bones. And for the first time in a long while, you won't feel like you're the only adult holding things together. This person knows how to build, how to stay, how to keep their word. You'll feel it in the way they look at you, like they've been waiting too. If you were born between April 27th and May 3rd, the energy of this meeting is subtle but steady. You might cross paths through something practical, work, volunteering, or a shared responsibility. They won't be loud or flashy, but they'll be consistent. And that's what pulls you in. You've been drawn in by intensity before, people who spark flames but vanish with the wind. This one, they show up in the rain again and again, until one day, they're just part of your rhythm, emotionally mature, quietly present, deeply observant. They'll speak your language not through dramatic gestures, but by simply knowing when to bring you tea without asking what's wrong. If you were born between May 4th and May 10th, this connection may surprise you. This person might challenge your comfort zone in all the best ways. They could come from a different background or express love in a style you're not used to. But there's a magnetic pull between their emotional intensity and your craving for depth and safety. They won't let you go numb. They'll ask questions that matter. They'll honor your silence, but also gently coax out your truths. You won't have to become someone else for them. In fact, the more you root into your essence, the more they lean in. What begins as contrast becomes compatibility. It's not wild, it's curious. And curiosity, for you, is sacred. If you were born between May 11th and May 17th, this person arrives after a season of closure, a release, a letting go, a pruning of people, goals, or mindsets that no longer feel aligned. They come when you're not reaching for anyone, when you're finally learning how to be full within your own energy. And that's what makes them different. They'll meet you at your calmest and still choose to stay. Their presence will feel like a warm lamp on a winter night, unassuming, but quietly illuminating. They admire your emotional depth. They don't get overwhelmed when you speak with clarity. Instead, they'll listen like your words are sacred. You won't be too much. You'll finally feel just right. If you were born between May 18th and May 20th, this person is a threshold. Their arrival marks the turning of a page, the end of the old storyline and the birth of something new, something spiritually aligned. You've been asking deeper questions about love, legacy, and what it means to be truly seen. And here they come, not to talk about dreams, but to walk with you inside them. They are grounded, wise, softened by their own struggles. You won't have to guess their intentions. Their energy will match their words. And at last, Taurus, you'll stop carrying everything alone. With them, you'll feel safe enough to finally rest into love. Each Taurus will feel this differently, but the essence remains: this is not a karmic cycle, not a fleeting spark, not a lesson in disguise. This is a real connection, emotionally, energetically, spiritually aligned. You are ready, and you are worthy, Taurus. You have spent so much of your life giving love that was calm, dependable, and real, yet so often it was poured into places that could not hold it, into people who saw your steadiness as convenience rather than reverence. And somewhere along the way, you began to wonder if your kind of love was too quiet to be noticed, too gentle to be chosen, too slow to be worth the wait. So you began to protect it, guarding your heart behind routines, behind loyalty, behind the noble silence of, "I'm fine." Not because you didn't want love, but because you didn't want to offer yourself again to someone who would only take the surface and never stay for the soul. But now, Taurus, the tide is turning, and what's coming toward you is not a test, not a trick, but a mirror, a connection that sees your stillness as a language, not a flaw, that understands the weight of what you give and doesn't run from it but roots deeper into it. And this new love, whether romantic or spiritual, will not ask you to explain your softness. It will not punish you for your loyalty. It will meet you where you are and whisper, "I know what it takes to stay. And I'm staying." In this space, you'll begin to let go, not all at once, but gently, layer by layer, of the old beliefs that told you your slowness made you hard to love, of the walls built to protect a heart that only ever wanted to be held safely. And as you allow yourself to receive what you have always given so freely, you'll realize that your vulnerability is not a burden to hide, but a bridge to be walked across. Because Taurus, your tenderness is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the root of everything lasting, everything loyal, everything real. And so, Taurus, as we close this space together, I want you to take a deep breath, not the kind that simply fills your lungs, but the kind that reaches all the way into the parts of you that have been holding it together for far too long. This week is not about rushing. It's not about proving. It's not even about understanding every detail of what's unfolding. This week is about feeling what it's like to be seen without needing to perform, feeling what it's like to receive without guilt. And most of all, feeling what it's like to finally be met by someone who moves at the same sacred pace you do. You don't need to apologize for how slowly you open or how deeply you love. Your rhythm is not a flaw, it's a prayer. And the universe, in its divine timing, has heard that prayer. You're not being asked to change who you are. You're being asked to remember who you are underneath the layers you've worn for survival. You've always been worthy of love that lasts. You've always been worthy of being chosen. Not for what you offer, but for who you are when everything else falls away. So if someone appears this week, whether with words or presence, whether clearly or quietly, pause. Don't run. Don't analyze. Don't talk yourself out of it because it feels unfamiliar. Instead, ask, what if this is safe? What if I don't have to carry the whole weight this time? And if no one appears just yet, trust that the energy is already moving. Seeds don't sprout the same day they're planted, but rest assured, the universe has not forgotten you. Let this be the moment where you begin to believe again, not in fairy tales, but in soul-aligned timing, in love that doesn't ask you to hustle for it, in tenderness that arrives without demands, in the kind of connection that doesn't knock you off center but brings you home to it. You are not hard to love. Taurus, you are just finally being asked to hold out for the kind of love that doesn't require you to dim or shrink or give without return. So this week, open gently, protect your peace, Let go of who you had to be in old stories and lean slowly, steadily into the new chapter that's arriving. Not as a storm, but as a soft, steady hand reaching toward yours. Until next time, take care of your heart. It's been so patient, and now it's finally being met